Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your Vista, Xvape Vista Mini 2 dab of the day. Our little buddy is here with us today. Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday. We've talked many times about therapy and how good it is for us. We've talked many times, unfortunately, about the last year plus, how people have been unable to be in their therapy, how I myself had to cease therapy. Well, what does that make us do? What it makes us do is consider alternatives. I am not a doctor or a psychologist. However, there are ways that we can make self-help therapy work for us. You see, the theory is simple. When we are confronted with adversity, we often experience unhelpful emotions because people think irrationally. But we can divest ourselves of those types of unhealthy emotions by challenging them and replacing those irrational beliefs with rational beliefs to tie into appropriate emotions and responsible actions. What does that mean? That means that we can do what's called rational emotional behavior therapy to ourselves. I know. Sounds strange that you can do it to yourself, but let's discuss. What do you think we'd need to do? Well, first thing we might want to do is start now, and then maybe practice a little bit every day. Think of a problem we'd like to work on. It could be a big one or a small one. Think about what we'd like to achieve with this type of interaction with ourselves. Then study the problem. And we've talked about this before. Split it. Split it into a practical part and to an emotional behavioral part. And you're going to want to focus on feelings and actions that you'd like to change. Don't try to solve the practical part until you fix the emotional part. And then as you're doing it, look for the unhappy feelings and look for the unhappy actions. And don't try to change the helpful feelings, even if they're unpleasant right now. And then you study those feelings and actions, okay? Maybe name the unhelpful emotions so you can have a target. And then ask yourself how you feel about the problem. And you know what? You're going to start looking into it more. You're going to make a list of the benefits of changing the unhelpful feeling that you have. That's right, commit it to paper even. And then study the practical problem once you've got the emotional problem identified. What do you think might happen as a result of this problem? Maybe assume that the worst will happen or has happened. And try to be very concise. Describe it to yourself in few words as possible. Like, I've been being a jerk, or that guy really annoys me. And focus on one practical problem at a time. Can it be solved? Yes or no? Well, if it can be solved or changed, brainstorm it away. If it can't, focus on learning to accept that problem. And then look for long-term solutions. Don't try to feel good about situations you don't like. Think about that. That's revolutionary. Why feel good about something you don't like? Identify it as something that needs to be changed. And then we start to study the secondary emotional things that are going on. I mean, do you feel bad about feeling bad? Are you embarrassed about feeling angry? And does that secondary emotion interfere with your efforts to overcome the first thing? You see, what you sometimes have to do is change the secondary emotion before you can tackle the primary emotion. Interesting, right? And maybe look for the unhelpful feelings about helpful feelings. For example, feeling anxious about feeling sad. And one of the things you have to look for, unfortunately, in this as a secondary emotion is called shame. People are shamed all the time. Think about the reasons that we look with our heads down. Think about the reasons we don't make eye contact. And remember one thing about all this. You feel the way you think. Think about it. If 1,000 people had your practical problem, would they feel the same way you feel? And why not? Think about it. And you have to find a way to look at and study the irrational beliefs we talked about that you might have. What are you telling yourself about it that makes you upset? What's going through your mind at that individual or that situation? And what do you think should happen if it hasn't happened already? What kind of a person do you think people are because of that problem? And I think what you need to look for is you got to look for these exaggerated evaluation situations. It's awful. It's terrible. I can't stand it. Okay? But you also want to look for what are called the 3 basic musts. Think about it. I must, you must, and life must. That's right. Make sure you identify irrational beliefs. Do all the beliefs you've identified lead to the feelings you've experienced? Or how would you feel if I changed those beliefs? In other words, are you sure it's worth going down that path? Is it real? And if it's not, find a way to dispute in your own mind the irrational things. Remember, it's okay to want any situation in the world to be different. Compare and contrast maybe your irrational beliefs with what would a rational counterpart be. How would you think about it differently? And don't forget to focus on I must versus I want. And focus on it's awful versus it's bad but not awful. Don't forget, you need that motivator to change. Focus on I can't stand it instead of I can stand it. Why? Why? Because we've got to reinforce a new rational belief. We've got to make sure that we take the 3 things that a rational belief needs to be put into action. You got to state what you want or what you don't want. You got to state that you don't need to have what you don't want. And then there's got to be maybe a but, okay? Which means I want to succeed, but I don't need to succeed. And then you actually have to believe that new rational belief. And new beliefs have to be repeated regularly because otherwise you're just spouting it out. You've got to feel it. And remember, those old beliefs have to be disputed in here regularly to stop feeling them. Then maybe we can put our new beliefs, the rational ones, to practice. Think about it. You look for ways to put them into motion. You compare them to the other ones you used to think. And then you decide what time of day you're going to set aside for disputing all those old irrational beliefs you had. And guess what? That's going to lead you to thinking about how are we going to handle the obstacles and overcoming daily issues. It's amazing how it works. People talk about this a lot. You got to keep kind of a list and a record of what you did and how you changed things. But you have an opportunity to make new rational beliefs out of those old irrational thoughts permanent. What you want to think about is looking for similar problems and apply all your new rational beliefs to those situations. It's like a rolling thing down the road. Look for changes in the intensity, the frequency or duration of the unhelpful feelings. You're going to see they're going to diminish as the other things increase. And remind yourself on a regular basis that your progress is totally up to you. It's a self-paced thing. You don't want to do it? Don't do it. You want to spend a lot of time on it? Have at it. It's incredible. Because what we're doing is we are taking our brains and we are using them. We are going to put ourselves into what is called cognitive control of ourselves for the first time. Well, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please become part of the Senior Stoner family. Subscribe to the channel. Send me your comments, please. As you all know already, I respond to every one of them. Truly enjoy it. Thank you so much today for watching this discussion on how we ourselves can help ourselves become better people and give ourselves what is called self therapy. I know it sounds like a tall order, okay? But let's give it a go. This has been The Real Senior Stoner. You all have a great day out there. Thanks for watching. Let's take our hit out of the Xvape Vista Mini. Cheers, everybody. Here we go. You can see it cycling in now from light to dark green, light to dark green, light to dark green. Then it's going to give me my haptic response that it's ready, and we'll be off to the races. Cheers, everybody, once again, and have a great day. The dab train is rolling. Boy, that puppy hums. One more for good health. Taste. Excuse me. Have a great day, and thanks again for watching. Cheers.